What if the greatest treasure in your life was not buried in some faraway land, but hidden deep inside you? Imagine chasing a dream your whole life, only to realize the gold you were searching for was never out there, it was within you all along. That is the haunting beauty of The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, a story that whispers to your soul and asks one powerful question. Are you brave enough to follow your personal legend? The Alchemist is more than a novel, it is a spiritual map to your destiny. Paulo Coelho teaches that every person is born with a personal legend, a purpose, a dream that only they can fulfill. But most people lose it along the way, distracted by fear, doubt, and the comfort of the known. This book follows Santiago, a shepherd boy who dares to chase his dream, a treasure buried near the pyramids of Egypt. His journey is filled with omens, mentors, heartbreak, and revelations, each teaching him that the real treasure lies in transformation, not possession. It is a reminder that when you commit to your dream, the entire universe conspires to help you achieve it. This book do not have any chapters, but we divide it into chapters to make it more understandable and memorable. Chapter 1. The Dream of the Treasure and Meeting Melchizedek. It all begins with a dream so strange that it feels like destiny. Santiago, a humble shepherd boy from Andalusia, keeps seeing the same vision. A child, telling him to find treasure near the Egyptian pyramids. Most people would laugh it off, but Santiago cannot shake the feeling that this dream means something. Could it be a sign? Or just his imagination? That restless pull between safety and destiny is what every dreamer feels before the leap of faith. Santiago's journey begins when he meets a mysterious old man named Melchizedek, who introduces himself as the King of Salem. He tells Santiago something that will define his entire journey. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Melchizedek explains that every person has a personal legend, a unique calling only they can fulfill. But over time, most people give up on it because they stop believing it is possible. To test Santiago's faith, the king gives him 2 stones, Urim and Thummim, symbols of guidance and decision-making. He tells him these stones will help him when his heart is unsure, but warns that true wisdom comes only through experience. Melchizedek's final advice cuts deep. People learn early in their lives what is their reason for being. Maybe that is why they give up on it so early too. That line becomes Santiago's first lesson. Your dream chooses you, but you must choose it back. And so, with nothing but faith and a dream, Santiago sells his flock and sets off toward Egypt. But destiny, as he soon learns, does not come without trials. In the next chapter, Santiago discovers that the first step toward your dream often begins with loss. Chapter 2. The journey begins selling the sheep and arrival in Tangier. Every dreamer must one day leave the comfort of what is known. For Santiago, that means giving up everything: his sheep, his home, and his safety in exchange for one fragile thing: belief. He steps onto a ship bound for Africa, his heart full of excitement and fear. When Santiago arrives in Tangier, he is overwhelmed. The language is different, the people are strangers. He has traded familiarity for uncertainty, and in his first day, he pays the price. A thief befriends him, promising help, and then steals all his money. In one moment, Santiago loses everything: no sheep, no gold, no map, just a dream. This is the moment that breaks most people. But instead of returning home, Santiago remembers what Melchizedek told him: when you possess great treasures within you and try to tell others of them, seldom are you believed. He realizes that no one else will believe in his dream for him. He must move forward alone. So he chooses to stay and work for a crystal merchant, learning the language, the culture, and the first true law of the universe. When you make a decision, the universe moves with you. The work is hard and humbling. Santiago washes glasses, learns to attract customers, and even suggests bold new ideas to the merchant, like selling tea in crystal glasses, transforming the man's business completely. He learns that small, consistent actions create momentum the same way small drops form a river. This becomes the foundation of his growth. Every step, no matter how small, is progress. After a year, Santiago saves enough to return home. But something inside him has changed. He realizes the dream is not just about gold, it is about becoming who he was meant to be. In the next chapter, he must choose again, comfort or destiny, and that decision will send him deeper into the desert and closer to the truth. Chapter 3. Working for the Crystal Merchant. Lessons of fear and change. Imagine losing everything on the first day of your dream: your money, your map, your safety. Most people would go home. Most people would tell themselves that the dream was foolish. But what if that moment of loss became the education you needed to grow? What if the very thing that breaks you becomes the bridge to who you must become? When Santiago arrives in Tangier with nothing, he could have returned to sheep and safety. Instead, he chooses to stay and work for a crystal merchant, a humble man whose business is stagnant because he is paralyzed by fear and comfort. This job becomes Santiago's classroom. From sweeping floors to polishing glasses, Santiago learns the language of service and the value of humility. But the real lessons come when he begins to see opportunities the merchant cannot see. Better displays, selling tea in crystal glasses, arranging the shop to attract customers. Small changes yield small gains and then larger gains. Santiago helps the merchant double his income, and he learns two essential truths: action trumps theory. The merchant knows life is slipping away, but knowledge without action is useless. Santiago's willingness to try, to fail, and to adapt produces progress. Fear is the greatest thief. The merchant is comfortable in his routine and terrified of growth. He prefers certainty, however poor, to the risk of change. Through this contrast, Santiago sees how easily comfort can become a prison. While working, Santiago practices the art of listening to customers, to the merchant's doubts, and to his own heart. He begins to understand the mechanics of the world: cause and effect, small disciplines, and the compound power of daily choices. He saves money, learns the language, and discovers that progress is rarely spectacular. It is steady. The crystal merchant is also a mirror. Santiago sees who he might become if he allowed fear to win. That realization crystallizes Santiago's resolve. The merchant's life warns him that the greatest obstacle to a personal legend is not failure, it is a slow acceptance of less. Finally, after a season of growth and saving, Santiago stands at a crossroad. He could remain comfortable, respected, and safe, or he could leave with more knowledge, a stronger heart, and the savings to continue toward the pyramids. Santiago chooses the road forward. He chooses the unknown again. That choice reveals a deeper lesson. Loss and service can be the training ground for destiny. The journey is not only about reaching a place, it is about becoming the person capable of receiving the treasure. But the desert is vast and strange teachers still await. As Santiago leaves Tangier, he will meet a man obsessed with books and the secrets of alchemy, a man who will teach him a different kind of wisdom. Chapter 4. The Englishman and the Alchemy of Knowledge. Have you ever met someone who holds the key to your destiny, but in a way you least expect? In this chapter, Santiago meets the Englishman, a man obsessed with books, theories, and the science of alchemy. But what happens when the shepherd who listens to omens meets the scholar who only trusts knowledge? As Santiago journeys across the desert toward the pyramids, he encounters the Englishman, a man who believes that the secrets of the universe are locked within the pages of ancient texts. He speaks of the philosopher's stone, a mystical substance capable of turning lead into gold, and the elixir of life, which grants immortality. The Englishman spends all his time reading, searching, and studying, yet he has never practiced what he has learned. Santiago, on the other hand, listens to the desert, the wind, and the silence. He sees meaning in the flight of hawks and the stir of sand. Here lies one of life's great lessons. Wisdom is not found in theory, but in experience. Santiago begins to realize that true understanding doesn't come from reading about life, it comes from living it. The Englishman wants to discover alchemy through books. Santiago wants to discover it through the heart. Both paths are valid, but only one will lead to transformation. When they reach the Alchemy Oasis, Santiago will face a test not of knowledge, but of intuition. And it is there, in the desert's heart, that he will learn that alchemy begins within the soul. Chapter 5, The Oasis and Love. Meeting Fatima, listening to the heart. Imagine standing in the middle of a long, dangerous desert and finding an oasis, a place of rest, water, and sudden belonging. Then imagine meeting someone there who feels like home, even though you have only known them a moment. How do you choose between a love that anchors you now and a dream that calls you onward? That is Santiago's test at the oasis. When the caravan stops at Al-Fayum, Santiago meets Fatima, a woman of the desert whose calm presence feels like an answered prayer. In her eyes he sees the kind of love that is patient, fierce, and rooted in the same soil that formed him. For the first time, Santiago discovers that the language of the heart is different from the language of the world. The oasis is also a place of danger and politics. It is an island of peace surrounded by threats. Tribes wage war and spies watch for secrets. Yet even amid that uncertainty, Santiago learns two crucial lessons about love and destiny. True love does not stop a personal legend, it supports it. Fatima tells Santiago that the desert women are patient and that she will wait while he completes his quest. Her love becomes a compass, not a cage. She does not ask him to surrender his dream. She asks him to return when it is fulfilled. The heart speaks truth through omens and longing. Santiago learns to listen more carefully to the signals within him. The heart will sometimes nudge, sometimes ache, and sometimes burn with a truth that the mind cannot yet understand. The wisdom of the heart requires courage not to abandon love, but to harmonize it with destiny. At the oasis, Santiago also witnesses the power of small acts. He helps the crystal merchant, learns to read people, and practices listening in a new way. He grows in patience and in the knowledge that love and destiny are not mutually exclusive. They are allies when both are treated with respect. Through Fatima, Santiago experiences a love that refines rather than limits. He sees that the soul of the world expresses itself not only in omens or treasure, but in the quiet fidelity of human hearts. Love, Coelho writes, is part of the fabric of the universe. It will push you toward your personal legend, not away from it when it is true. But the desert has more teachings yet. Santiago will soon meet a man who is consumed by books and one who is the living embodiment of alchemy. Their lessons will force him to choose between knowledge, action, and the language of the world. Chapter 6. The Alchemist, the teacher of the soul. Imagine meeting someone who seems to know your thoughts before you speak them. Someone who looks at you and sees the path of your entire life, your fears, your purpose, and your destiny all in one silent glance. That is the moment Santiago meets the alchemist, but this isn't just a meeting between a boy and a wise man. It's the meeting between the student and the spirit of the world itself. By this point in his journey, Santiago has learned lessons from everyone, the king, the merchant, the Englishman, but the alchemist is different. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't explain life's secrets in words. He simply lives them. The alchemist embodies the law of nature that every living thing has a purpose, and when you align with that purpose, you move in harmony with the universe. He teaches Santiago through action, through silence, through presence. When you possess great treasures within you and try to tell others of them, seldom are you believed. Santiago learns that real wisdom cannot be taught, it must be experienced. The alchemist helps him see that the treasure he seeks in Egypt is not gold, but transformation, the turning of the ordinary self into the purest version of the soul. Every desert storm, every loss, every doubt, it was all part of refining Santiago's spirit into gold. The Alchemist also teaches one of the book's greatest truths. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. But there's a hidden clause: the universe only helps those who are willing to act, not those who simply wish. Faith without courage is fantasy. When bandits capture them, Santiago learns that the only true protection is within the courage to trust that his heart is connected to something greater. In the end, the Alchemist shows him how to listen to the soul of the world, that invisible current that guides every dreamer toward their destiny. It's no longer about finding treasure, it's about becoming someone who is worthy of it. With this final guidance, Santiago stands before the Egyptian pyramids, the place that has lived in his dreams since the beginning. But what he finds there will change everything you believe about destiny. Say go next to continue with Chapter 7. The treasure within the return home, the breathtaking finale that reveals the secret meaning behind the entire journey. Chapter 7. The treasure uncovered, return, revelation, and fulfillment of the personal legend. After crossing endless sands, surviving war, love, and fear, Santiago finally stands before the Egyptian pyramids, the place that has haunted his dreams since the beginning. The moonlight falls on the golden stones, and the wind seems to whisper, "This is it." But what if, after all this time, the treasure he sought was never where he expected? What if the real gold was buried not under the desert, but within him all along? Santiago kneels before the pyramids and begins to dig. Each handful of sand is filled with both hope and exhaustion. He feels the pulse of his destiny echo through his hands. But before long, he is ambushed by thieves. They beat him, mock him, and steal everything he has left. As he lies broken in the sand, one of the thieves laughs and says, "You fool. I once had a dream too, of a treasure buried in a ruined church in Spain, where a sycamore tree grows." The thief walks away, not knowing that he has just revealed the final piece of the puzzle. The treasure was never in Egypt. It was back where Santiago's journey began. Santiago laughs through his tears. The universe had conspired. For him, not in a straight line, but in a perfect circle. Every step, every failure, every lesson was leading him not to a place, but to a realization. The journey itself was the true treasure. When Santiago returns to Spain and digs beneath the sycamore tree near the ruined church where he first dreamed of treasure, his shovel strikes something hard. Inside the chest he finds jewels, gold coins, and ancient relics, but none of it shines brighter than the understanding he now carries in his heart. He finally understands what the Alchemist meant. People learn early in their lives what is their reason for being. Maybe that is why they give up on it so early too. But the treasure of life will always be found at the place where your heart belongs. Santiago realizes that the true alchemy was not turning metal into gold, it was transforming his spirit from fear to faith, from dreamer to doer. He has fulfilled his personal legend, not because he found treasure, but because he became the kind of person who deserves to find it. As the wind whispers through the branches of the sycamore tree, Santiago looks up and smiles, because now he knows the secret that few ever discover. To realize one's destiny is a person's only real obligation. But the story does not end here. It continues every time someone dares to follow their dream, listen to their heart, and trust the omens of the universe. Final thoughts. The journey of the Alchemist is not about gold, pyramids, or magic. It is about you. It is about the dream you once had, the one that keeps whispering to your soul when the world is silent. It is about the courage to leave comfort behind, to walk through deserts of doubt, and to trust that the universe is not your enemy, but your mirror. Santiago's story reminds you that every obstacle, every heartbreak, every delay is part of a divine pattern. The signs are always there, you simply have to listen. The greatest treasure you will ever find is not buried in the ground. It is the person you become while searching for it. So the question is, Are you still waiting for permission to follow your dream? Or are you ready to take the first step toward your own personal legend today? If this story stirred something deep within you, that quiet voice saying there is more to my life than this, then that is your sign. Subscribe to this channel for more cinematic book summaries that will awaken your mind, ignite your purpose, and remind you of what truly matters. Comment below and tell me what is one dream you have buried beneath fear or routine, because the moment you name it, the universe begins to conspire for you.